I doubt you can even imagine it. He who watched the Elden Ring trailer daily, demonetized while raising money for charity by someone or something. But that was not the end. The lore hunter came back with a fresh look for day 666, and not one, but two special guests.
Why, hello there. Today is day 666, and I'm doing a little rebranding, so you may notice it looks a little different. But I am coming back and watching the trailer again, and I have with me not one, but two guests for this special occasion. I have Mordecai, the host of the Elden Ring news. Hello, Mordecai.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and PvP and Souls multiplayer expert Saint Riot. Hello, Saint.
Hey guys.
So we will be watching the leaked trailer at the end here. But before we get into watching the leaked trailer for day 666, I wanted to first of all just ask you, Saint, how are you? Are you looking forward to Elden Ring? What's your hype level at this point? Almost 2 years out.
Um, have you ever you guys watch Star Trek at all?
Yeah.
Kind
All
of.
right. You know the episode where Picard gets beamed down onto an alien planet with an alien who can only talk in like metaphors and stories of what's happened in his past before. It's called Darmok. Have you guys ever seen that?
Yeah.
Okay. The other day I was streaming and we were talking about Elden Ring and we were talking about that episode of Star Trek and someone said Elden Ring at the Game Awards and Jeff Keighley, his face wet with tears, and that's about where I'm at. I I no longer keep up with anything. I just sort of like I'll see it when I see it.
Yeah.
But I was going crazy bouncing around from event to event, especially over the summer with no E3 and that entire 4 month long thing that happened. It broke me. It just broke me.
Yeah, and now we're back to summer again. And I was personally I know Mordecai's not in this boat, but I'm still just by the thinnest of threads holding to maybe getting some information this month. It is quickly fading, very quickly. But where are you at, everyone? With when do you think Elden Ring will come out? As much as a bet, it's a guess for everyone. No one knows at this point. But I'm Team April, hanging by a thread for getting info. Very quickly becoming summer, and I'm feeling spring 2022 at this point.
If I had kind of thought maybe they would capitalize on the 10-year anniversary of Dark Souls 1 and they would release it a little off for, From Software really loves their April release, but I thought maybe they might, let's do it 10-year anniversary Dark Souls. That would be nice.
Yeah.
But if they were going to have done that, we would have had news by now. If we get news this summer, then sure. Spring 2022.
Yeah. Where are you at, Mordecai?
I'm kind of done like guessing or putting my eggs in a basket for a certain event or a year or a decade. I'm just until we officially hear from Software again about the game, then I'm just taking it day by day.
Yeah, team who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely the safest and sanest way to be about it at this point. Just given games in general are all over the place. It's, understandably been a rough time for developers, so it makes a lot more sense just to take it day by day. And luckily, as long as we're going day by day, we have at least this month. Mordecai, you've been killing it with the guest slots and having some fun stuff popping up. If anyone hasn't watched them, Mordecai's had some really great guests on, sort of keeping us alive during April as far as Elden Ring news goes.
Yeah, just trying to make the wait easier for everyone.
Yeah, thank you. But so today is a topic I am not really. I do a little bit of co-op, but I'm not like a PvP person. I'm not like a builds person. I'm a PvE person who plays the game, and I get into the lore stuff. But I'm curious for you guys, like, sort of taking aside the fact that we don't know anything about what Elden Ring will be like, in your ideal scenario, assuming it's very much a Souls type game, what would you guys like to see regarding like PvP online multiplayer stuff?
Mordecai, do you want to go first?
Well, I think something that they could take a lesson from the Demon Souls remake is having like proper dedicated servers, or something like a ping filter. But the Demon Souls remake also made it so you can only matchmake with people in the very specific server you had selected, which kind of killed the online. Like you can only find people in like your very specific region. Like there's like 5 US servers, and like an East person can't connect to a West person, which is kind of stupid, and they've stopped updating that game, so I lost all hope in that. But yeah, dedicated servers would be a nice start.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
This is actually a funny thing. I'm absolutely a nerd when it comes to these like multiplayer mechanics. So that's something that like me and my little cadre of nerds I hang out with, we look at. The Demon Souls servers are actually like way crazier than they even look. You can invade a player regardless of server, but you can only co-op with people who are on your server. And like, for example, I had a friend of mine who streams Demon Souls PvP. His name's Nino the Human. He's from Ireland. He would connect to North America, West Virginia servers on purpose because he was hoping to get, that group. But he was invading a player who was watching his stream, who lived in California and had put themselves on some other server in an attempt. Basically, they had tried to match with each other. Both picked the wrong server and then still ended up matching with each other. So we dug around a little bit, and yeah, it turns out you can invade pretty much anybody on as far as the servers go, but you can only co-op with the people who are in your server, which works well because Souls always does that thing where when you do co-op, the bosses just act insane because the boss has to account for latency between two different whatever. But yeah, as far as what I would like, I really like really like the route that FromSoft went, starting with Bloodborne, where the invader is there to sort of balance out the multiplayer. So if you summon a phantom, you're more likely to get invaded. And in Bloodborne, you actually you outside of 2 areas, you had to have summoned someone to be invaded, or rang the invader bell yourself. And then in Dark Souls 3, take it a step further, and you can summon. And the more you summon, the more likely you are to get invaded. And then you have an item that you can use that allows you to summon one more person, but now a second invader can show up. I love that. I think it adds like the chaos of, it can make a level that you've played 100 times into something you'll never experience again. You get all these like just insane interactions with a bunch of different players. It's great, and I hope they stick with that moving forward.
Yeah, the item Saint was talking about, the dried fingers, that was my number one wish for Demon Souls remake, and it didn't have that. So whenever I wanted to like have a fight club with a friend that I summoned, like we would not get invaded, regardless of soul level, area. It would be like we would get invaded like once every hour. It was just very dead for a brand new game. And I know like not many people have a PlayStation 5, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made some questionable decisions with the Demon Souls remake when it comes to multiplayer. Especially if you look at like Dark Souls Remastered, when Q-Lock is like, that's what they do. They like remaster online games. And I know Q-Lock didn't do much in terms of visual fidelity or FPS that players hadn't already done with mods or whatever. But what they did do is they made the online interaction actually work. And if you ever played Dark Souls 1 on like PlayStation 3 or Xbox, you will know that it just did not work. Q-Lock made it work, and then they took some quality of life changes that existed in Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, like the dried finger, the extra summon, the password, and they gave that to Dark Souls 1 players. I have no idea why Blue Point didn't see that and think like, yeah, we should probably do the same. They did the password, but there's no item that's like, okay, when you use this, everything's going to be balls to the wall, crazy. The password kind of acts as a dried finger in a way, but not in the same way. And Demon Souls also has this like insane mechanic where if you as an invader die to a host, you won't invade them again until they cross the threshold of like a different whatever, or they die. So like you have these grudge matches in Dark Souls 3 where you invade the same group of gankers over and over and over again, and it turns into like this grudge match. And it's beautiful. And Demon Souls is just like, nah, we don't have that here. You can invade the same clueless host who's by himself every time he dies and comes back and uses a Stone of Ephemeral Eyes. You can invade that same numbnuts 10 times in a row because he died. But we're not going to let you invade the guys who are running around actively looking for invaders.
Yeah.
Wild. Absolutely wild.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds interesting. So it seems like what Demon Souls remake brought to the table was having those dedicated servers, but then everything else is very much did not, get any of the quality of life improvements that the Souls games got over the course of the series.
I mean, Bluepoint they were basically hired to showcase the power of the PlayStation 5 and make the game look pretty, which hats off to them. They did exactly that. So
yeah,
I think the fact that it even had an online is surprising. Because I don't think that's their area of expertise.
No,
and like with everyone who like Gavin Moore, the director, he's leaving the studio, so probably not going to see any more updates to the game as it is. So
because so Sony has decided Japan studio not doing it for anymore, which is very unfortunate. But I'm with you where Blue Point, like, even though I've only done a little bit of online for the Demon Souls remake, but I was in a similar boat where I was like, I haven't really seen them tackle anything like that before. So what they were able to do sounds pretty cool, even though it seems like it would have been nice to have some of this stuff. And it'll be interesting. Do you guys think once it's, Elden Ring and from Software's hands, like if they will actually do some server stuff and then bring along, I would hope that they bring along the quality of life stuff that they brought in with Dark Souls 3, but it's always tough with From Software because they will sort of they will improve some stuff and then not include it in the next game. Like I'm still waiting for like bonfire aesthetics to like make its way into games, because that's one thing that like I think Dark Souls 2, for all the complaints against it that some people have, is like it had some cool mechanics and then you didn't see them show up. So are you guys feeling hopeful that maybe they'll, since it seems like you'd both want dedicated servers for Elden Ring then?
Dedicated servers to me is kind of like what Blue Point did is fine. But when you talk about like actual dedicated servers, like in like a fighting game, it would be very awkward to implement into Dark Souls, a style game. The reason we have like the peer-to-peer network is because the host of the world is also hosting the world in which every other player shows up in, right? So if we run dedicated servers, and this is another thing, like there's a large contingent of people that would prefer that Souls be more competitive, I guess, and like a fighting game, and I am like nowhere near that. I am not in that crowd at all. But the idea that we would have these dedicated servers would make it would make invasions a bit more awkward, because you would be the host running around and it's your turn to get invaded. So you're summoned up on a queue. All right, let's say the game knows it's your turn to get invaded, and so it went ahead and put you in a server to be invaded. And now an invader joins that server. And that would very much look like the same thing that we have now. Except now let's say you summon a phantom. All right, now everybody's game has to stop while the phantom is summoned in, because we didn't know we were going to summon that phantom, right? And then let's say we call in a blue sentinel or a blade of the dark moon to come defend against the invader. Now everybody's game has to stop again, and we have to all load in to this same instance of these, you know what I'm saying? And like as players are it would be very unwieldy, and it would make things it would take away a lot of the I know that the peer-to-peer connection is not like ideal, but like for what From Software is doing, it's kind of the solution, unless they figure, I'm not a $1 million video game developer, maybe they know something I don't, but like I'm cool if From Software is a very Japanese company, and when Dark Souls 1 came out and Demon Souls, they were like, all right, there's 2 servers. There's Japan, and then there's everywhere else. Yeah. And then we got, they opened up a little bit more with Dark Souls 2, and then with Dark Souls 3, we got a few more. And you can, that's something that you can even choose to turn off, so that you're not only matchmaking with the people in your area. And like as the game gets older, you do that because you want more activity. So I'll take more activity if it means, the occasional lag spike or Wi-Fi host who's like just hitting me from 30 yards away, as long as there's something there,
Yeah. So it seems like, I also like, I'm not a PvP person per se, but I really like the organic nature of being invaded. Like, I do try to keep myself open for invasion during my first playthrough and subsequent playthroughs of games, just because it does mix up the game in that way. So I'm very much, that's a good technical point I hadn't really considered, is just I really want that organic nature of who's going to pop up, what's going to happen, and it does sound like that would go against it. And so in your mind, for both of you, if, say I know the open world for Elden Ring is probably a huge challenge for them. Would you be disappointed if they had sort of relegated multiplayer into certain zones or like arena style PvP like they have in the games too?
If it was solely arena style, yes, I would be immensely disappointed.
Yeah, me too. There's other games you can play if you want that experience.
Yes. And what's every one of those games that comes out that's like PvP is the focus. Like Dark Souls fans always think they want that until they get it, and then they don't want it. Yeah. Like it's but yes. Now, as far as like relegated to certain zones, like in my mind, Elden Ring is Dark Souls 1, but they had time to finish it. So you have like what is essentially like an open map, not open world in the way that not like, it's not The Witcher 3. It's Dark Souls 1, except everything is connected. You can get from every point to every other point in the map. Nothing's bad. There's no Lost Izalith.
Fingers crossed.
Every day that Elden Ring is delayed, one of the dragon butt enemies in Lost Izalith becomes a cool and interesting monster. Um, so like, all right, so let's say this is another thing you talked about, where you said like bonfire ascetics and like taking things, just, you know, why don't they take things? I really do hope that they do start. Like Elden Ring to me feels like you can leave all of the Souls baggage behind, but you can take a new, fresh approach to something with 10 years worth of experience. So if we were going to build Dark Souls from the ground up today, how would we do it? So like, I hope all that stuff does come back. But on the topic of like as bonfire ascetics, a new game plus that matters.
Yeah.
On the topic of things that I hope that they like take and are good, like every game has had some incredible covenants, but they've never taken it all and just put it in one game, and it absolutely drives me crazy. Like the Dark Souls 2, everybody praises the new game plus aspect of it, and they should, because that's good. Dark Souls 1 had a similar thing, except it was tied to multiplayer. If you were in New Game Plus and there was a person in the Gravelord Covenant in your area, they spawned all of these badass monsters.
Yeah.
And you were encouraged to invade the Gravelord and kill them to make that stop. So that's gone. We've never had that again. I would love for that to come back. The Blades of the Dark Moon in Dark Souls 1 are invaders who invade invaders. I would love that. Bring that back.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 2 lets us invade people who have killed their bosses. All right, well, invaders probably kill their boss, so we need that. We need invaders who can invade invaders whose bosses are dead. We need that.
Yeah.
The Dark Souls 2 Covenant idea of, hey, these guys show up mid-invasion to try and protect the host. I like that. Let's keep that. But, like, we can have all of these things, you know?
Yeah.
We can have the Covenant that's like, I'm just here to co-op. I'm just here to help you out. Then you have the Invader Covenant, and then you could have your Aldrich Faithfuls or Forest Guardians or Crucifixion Woods Watchdogs, your Dark Souls 2 Rat Covenants. Like, I'm here to protect this area. This is my covenant. This is what I do. And you could have something like that. And you could have, like, when you go to this area, the invaders are all tricky Rat Covenant types who put traps and make, you know, pitfalls and lower bridges. That would be awesome. Like, and then even Bloodborne had this brilliant idea of, like, if I'm a vile blood and you're an executioner and we try and summon each other as friends, we hate each other. We have to fight.
Yeah.
If I'm a host and I summon two different people and one of them's an executioner and one of them's a vile blood, I don't have co-op. I just have like an absolute melee on my hands, you know?
Yeah.
And that's incredible. Where is that? Bring that back. Like, the Dark Souls 3 tried to give us mound makers, but it's just like, why would I ever summon this guy? He can't help me fight the boss and he can hit me. Like, I personally, I'll summon them. Like Mordecai was talking about doing a dried finger run. If I'm doing a dry finger run and I'm streaming and I'm on Twitch and there's a bunch of people watching, I'll make my viewers summon in as mound makers. That way we have friendly fire. We can hit each other. We can't just mindlessly like gank the invaders that are showing up. We have to kind of think about it.
Yeah.
But in terms of like organic gameplay, it's just a question of like, why would I ever summon this person? There's a Sunbro right here who's not going to hit me or betray me or turn on me and is dependent on me killing my boss in order for them to get their reward. So of course I'm going to summon this guy over this absolute lunatic who just might turn on me for no reason.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, is the idea that, you know, Elden Ring sort of, and I feel like a lot of people sort of feel this way about it, and I think it makes a lot of sense, is like looking at Elden Ring as like the culmination of the Souls experience and then some. And it's like, it's like, why wouldn't you? Like, I love Rat Bros in Dark Souls 2. Like, that's like, Dark Souls 2 was when I did my most multiplayer, and it's because of interesting covenants like that. And I like your idea of like, why do you have to pick and choose? Like, once we've done it once, we can't bring it back. Like, just do the greatest hits of the covenants, even come up with some new ideas. And then I really love the idea of like, you have a forest and then you have like a Rat Bro section, and because that would add so much more to the PvE experience as well. Each area having its own character of multiplayer, and it's not just the same, essentially like 3 or 4 groups that you're dealing with throughout the game.
Yeah, and that's like when I started playing Dark Souls 1, I didn't have Xbox Live. So like it's not like I got into the series because of the online mechanics. I got into the series because it's just a really good game, you know? And then you beat the game and it does this thing where other games stop measuring up and you just want to play more Dark Souls. But you want, some people are like, okay, I want more Dark Souls. I'm going to try and beat the game without leveling up. I'm going to beat the game without getting hit. I'm going to beat the game the fastest. And then online is its own little niche of that, where it's like, I'm going to play, but I want to play with as many people as possible because there's no other game that lets you do that. Like, it's an RPG. You make your own person. You make your character. You have like, they have character to them. And then you get to take your character and inject it into somebody else's game, sometimes against their will. There's no other game that does anything even remotely similar to that, you know? Mm-hmm. So when I was finally able to start playing the game online, like a lot of people, I was like, this is insane. These dudes just show up and they just kill you in one hit and like they're immortal. You can't hurt these people. Like, why does anybody think this is fun?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you're lost in the Tomb of the Giants and you're like, all right, I know there's an ember down here I'm supposed to pick up, but I don't know where it's located at. I know I'm going to invade and the enemies won't hit me and I'm free to explore and like look around and stuff. And like the first time you ever invade somebody, it feels like you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. It feels like your mom's going to like kick in the door and I caught you, you know? And I love that feeling. I just hope that Elden Ring is able to deliver on that because it's absolutely unique to From Software games. Nobody else does it.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be kind of hilarious if, despite what the rumors say, the game just does not have an online component.
Oh.
I would lose my mind.
Like they're gonna say, due to, I don't know, development issues, we had to cut out the online portion.
Now, like all right, so we've got Dark Souls 2, which was co-directed by Tanamura and the guy who quit, and then it just became like a Tanamura joint. And then we had Bloodborne, which was developed by Miyazaki. And if you check out the credits for Bloodborne, the lead developer was I don't know his first name, but I'll call him Mr. Hamatani. Yeah. Mr. Hamatani was like he was a lead developer of Bloodborne. He gets promoted to co-director for Sekiro, and Tanimura's co-director for Dark Souls 3 becomes Miyazaki. So, Elden Ring started development at the time Ring City finished. So I'm fully expecting this to be like a Tanimura joint. Mm-hmm. And Tanimura has never let me down when it comes to multiplayer. So please have multiplayer Elden Ring. I was like, Sekiro came out and I didn't think I was going to think much of it. But man, that game is absolutely incredible. And if From Software wants to keep making a game like that, I will keep buying it because it was absolutely phenomenal. I'm still playing Sekiro. I know people think it like one of the complaints is like without any online, there's no like replayability, but I love it. I love that you can always be getting better at it, and it's so tight. It's great. If they want to keep making that game, that's great. But also, please keep making the other one.
Yeah.
It's been the other day was the 5th year anniversary of Dark Souls 3's release, at least the Japanese version.
Yeah.
So it's been that long since we've had a new online From Software experience, not counting Demon Souls Remake because that was I don't know, not
or Dark Souls Remake.
Or Dark Souls Remastered, I guess.
Yeah.
Remaster. Sorry, not remake.
How long did Dark Souls like? My feeling around Dark Souls 1 Remastered was like I played it when it came out, like a bunch of people did, but I feel like the online community for that just like evaporated really fast. It just seemed like it was gone pretty quickly after Dark Souls 1 Remastered launched. It didn't seem to have the staying power. People just went back to Dark Souls 3.
I mean, why wouldn't they go
Yeah.
back to Dark Souls 3? It's like
Yeah.
literally better in every way.
I fell in love with Dark Souls 1 PvP during that remaster, and I understand the faults and complaints that people have with it. But the it's really a different experience because like Mordecai was talking about with Demon Souls, how it just seems like they're not going to do anything with it. Like there are 10 and 11-year-old videos on YouTube that are like, hey, here's how to play a Havel Mom with a Crystal Great Club, and or here's how to make your Demon Souls I'm invisible up until I'm not Firestorm build that'll one shot everybody. And you know that there's no patch coming down the line. So like with Dark Souls 3, everybody ran Karthus Curve Sword on a hollow quality build and buffed it with Karthus Rouge for like 6 months. And then From Software was like, nah, we're done with that. We're nerfing that. That's not as good anymore. And just that aspect of like patching the game keeps it going because they say, okay, well, that's not the best build anymore. Now it's this. And so everybody rushes to like remake a build or have people drop them stuff. And you just don't get that with these remakes and remasters. It's just not.
Yeah.
There's, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, this is like literally the same game. I'm gonna make the build that Ouroboros put on YouTube 10 years ago, and like maybe Oro like makes a remaster of the build, and like puts that up on YouTube or whatever, and like it's great, it looks beautiful, but like it's the same numbers, it's the same stats, and nothing's gonna change. It's never gonna change.
Yeah.
So like, it just doesn't have that same staying power like at all because there's nothing to figure out. Everything's done. We were figuring out poise in Dark Souls 3 for like the first 2.5 or 3 months that it was out.
Yeah. And
then they patched it and changed it on us. And so now you have to test everything again, and that's like for lore people, like, finding all the endings and finding all the dialogue and finding all the items, and the community comes together and pieces it together. It's the same thing with the PvP crowd. We're doing the same thing with those mechanics. We're trying to like piece together because From Software's patch notes are like, katanas now do more counter damage. And you're like, what the hell does that mean? So it's fun, it's fun to dig around and get in the guts of the game and try and figure out what they patched and what they changed.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It keeps the community going,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
At least the Demon Souls remake, even though like it was basically the same game, it did bring in a few new glitches that were very fun at the beginning. I don't know if you had a chance to experience it, Saint, but the luck glitch in PvP was pretty fun.
Yeah, there was we have characters, invaders have characters that have like these insane soul counts where you killed someone who had used the luck glitch. Mm-hmm. And like the souls you gain for killing that character, they're like a trophy.
If you soul sucked someone who was luck glitched, I believe you would get I think 999 billion souls, which are 999 million, I think, which is not enough souls to max out your character. So you have to do it like twice or 3 times to do that.
What's even the best part about soul suck on a luck glitch character is it patches the character because their last level was 999 levels worth of luck. So when they've patched it, I have no idea. What were you thinking, Blue Point?
It's literally the only thing they patched the game,
they're like,
ruining the online.
They're like, you don't get souls anymore for killing phantoms. And also, if you get soul sucked, I don't remember if they, but the point being that like there's a clip of Peeve Peverson and he soul sucks a luck glitcher. And a luck glitcher should be able to one-shot you with a blue blood sword.
Right.
But Peeve gets this like clutch soul suck on this dude, and then the dude hits him, and the dude's build is worthless because Peeve has 999 levels worth of luck. It was incredible. I have no idea why they got rid of that, because that's the sort of thing that's like, yeah, keep this. Demon Souls was like the Wild West of PvP, you know, like keep that goes into the spirit of Demon Souls. I feel like, you know, me personally, maybe a bunch of people don't agree with that, and you know what I mean, and that's fine. But I love that, and the fact that they patched all that is like, I feel like we lost out on something that was fun. You know, man, that was so silly.
I still managed to make a few max level characters because of that, but they can't reset those. I'll have those forever.
That's good. Yeah, I really those glitches and just stuff like that. Like, I'll be very curious to see, like, if, you know, I feel like with Elden Ring it could come into two ways. They could take all of this experience and give us a really polished multiplayer experience, sort of like Dark Souls 3, even though there was some adjustments they made, like you were saying, which is awesome. But it was obviously, like you mentioned with Demon Souls, it was like the Wild West, and they continued to refine it over the course of the series. And it'll be interesting to see if Elden Ring is a chance for them to really bring that expertise to bear, or if they will, you know, branch out in some new weird ways. And hopefully, if they do, it'll create some stuff like that, because I feel like From would have probably eventually patch it, but probably a little more elegantly, because I feel like these games are still always a bit broken still, and I don't think I would ever want a totally polished Souls game. I don't know if from a multiplayer aspect that feels different, but as someone, I always like the games being just like a little broken.
I absolutely I agree with that. I think they've lost a little something in. Tanimura is such a weird guy. He gets so much like praise, but he also gets like so much hate as well. And I don't think people recognize that like the dude did Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3. He's like the duality of man. Like so like every game they've kind of tried to make it where if you get invaded, like it's not just an absolute shellacking. You know, like you get invaded in Dark Souls 1. You walk to the Undead Burg, you use that humanity that you found in Firelink Shrine, you turn human, and the first thing that happens is you get invaded by a dude with plus 10 armor, 99 soft humanity, and you know, a plus 5. We'll go remastered, where they tried to implement weapon level matchmaking. So you've got a plus 0 weapon, you get invaded by a guy who has a plus 5 weapon, maybe like a Black Knight sword. And I mean, he just kills you in 2 hits.
Yeah.
And you literally cannot do damage to him. Or like somebody invades you and just blasts you with Dark Bead, and like there's no stat requirement necessary. So like they just and you're gone. So then Dark Souls 2 was like, all right, well, let's try Soul Memory. And that backfired in the worst possible way, because now I'm a guy who's beat Dark Souls 2, and I've kept my Soul Memory low on purpose. So I've got 500,000 soul memory, and I'm invading people who have 500,000 soul memory, and they're in the second area of the game because they died a lot and they didn't keep up with their soul memory. So like it did the exact opposite of the thing you would want it to do. And then with Dark Souls 3, they were like, okay, well, let's try making it where the invader can't have a very powerful weapon compared to the host. Like if the host has a plus 3, the invader can have a plus 4, but he can't have a plus 6. You can't have, you know, no plus 10 weapon running around hitting people with plus 4 weapons from the invader's side. The host can do that, but the invader can't. And it's you lose something there, because now the game itself is a little more balanced. And like you're saying, like some of those just insane, broken, janky mechanics that existed in the old Souls games, like those are gone. And like we don't get to have those because of the emphasis on multiplayer. And sometimes they try and like combine the two, And so they're like, okay, you know that ring that makes you like a super badass wizard? Well, it doesn't work as well in PvP. Well, now not only does it not work, it's just not ever worth using, and it's just something no one's ever going to play with, like when it comes to multiplayer. And you kind of, there's a trade-off there. But if the trade-off is that more people enjoy playing online, and that includes like just I'm going to play this game 2 or 3 times with my friends and then never play it again. That includes those people. Like, you want those people playing online because that's more activity, right? So like if they enjoy the game more and will play it online versus people who start up Dark Souls 1 and they're like, I'm not playing this online. Have you seen this? It's disgusting. You know, it kind of ruins the activity. So like I understand, but it is something that's missed, like having a game that they just don't care if it's, you know what I mean? They're like, yeah, be OP. Who cares? Do it. It's funny. You kind of miss that.
Yeah.
That's what the Demon Souls remake kind of brought back with like unscaled phantoms. You can invade someone who has like a non-upgraded weapon, and it's just you kill them in 2 R1s. It's just so unbalanced that it kind of makes you miss that feeling of just absolutely destroying someone in an unbalanced game. But like Dark Souls 3 meta invasions right now are just so sweaty that it feels like you're playing a competitive game.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's like that's really interesting to me because it's a game that there's no game has come and taken its place, right? We haven't had a new multiplayer experience. Like Mordecai said, we haven't had one in 5 years. This is the longest we've ever gone by a large margin before another game came and gave us something else to play. So we've had 5 years to just like deconstruct Dark Souls 3. And like, there's always a huge contingent of the player base who's like, oh, this sucks. New game sucks. Old game was better. Like you had it from Demons to Dark, from Dark to Dark 2, Dark 2 to Dark Souls. You had, like it's always there.
Yeah.
And it will be there for Dark Souls 3 to Elden Ring.
Yeah.
But like there's been like 3 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 2.5 years where the game just has not been patched. And there's obviously no intention on patching it at this point. So like a lot of the Dark Souls 2 complaints, the player base, Dark Souls 2, they loved it. They're like, man, Estus is entirely too fast. Dark Souls 1 as well. Estus is entirely too fast. It's very difficult to punish Estus now. All right, so you're 2 years into playing Dark Souls 3, and Estus becomes like a read game. And if I think you're going to Estus, I can like switch over in my menu, and I can get out a big heavy weapon. And when you go to drink Estus, I can punish it. It is much faster, but I can still punish it. And if you're playing on PC or PS4 Pro or PS5 and you're playing at 60 FPS, it's very easy to backstab a player who's drinking Estus in Dark Souls 3. It's really, really difficult if you're doing it on 30 FPS. But that it's there, and like you had time to figure it out. And like we're at this point now where there's like the Estus cancel, where you can drink Estus in like an instant, and you can still technically punish it, but like holy god, like it's fast. And that exists because we've had 4 years to just sit here and like dig in the grave and like find the bones of this game and like, oh yeah, this will work. So like I look forward to Elden Ring coming out. Whatever the heal mechanic is, I'm sure the first thing people are going to do, because these games always run on the same engine, the first thing people are going to do is figure out how to do that, and then it's going to get patched, and it'll, like, oh, finally, finally, I've missed this. Please patch this game. I'm ready for like the month 3 patch of Elden Ring already. I'm already looking forward to it.
I'm more looking forward to the day 1 absolute
degeneracy.
Hectic invasions.
Do you guys like to invade on your blind first playthrough, do you like to get right into PvP, or do you like to play through the game first and then get into it?
Let me answer that by saying this. When I bought the Demon Souls remake on the PlayStation 5, which was in November, luckily I managed to get a PS5. I did not beat the game until mid-January because I was just doing invasions, and I kept making new characters and just not finishing the game because I couldn't be bothered. I didn't have any reason to.
Yeah.
I eventually did it. I think I did it once by doing the wrong warp glitch, which you could essentially go to the boss room of the final boss of an area, so like Maiden Estrella, without doing any of World 5.
Okay.
So I did that to beat the game the first time, I think. And that's only because I wanted to get the Soul Suck spell, which you need to beat the game for. And then what is it, the Black Eye Stone or the Red? I think that's the Red Eye Stone you get from killing.
The Red Eye Stone is for
Maiden
beating
Black.
the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just did it for that, but like it wasn't like a casual, like actually beat all the bosses kind of playthrough. I don't think I ever did that till I went for the platinum. So first playthrough, yeah, probably.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm a lore nerd, like at heart. Like I'm
one of
like
us.
my yeah. Like that story about like invading in Tomb of the Giants. Like that's actually how I started invading. Was like I was just trying to like explore Tomb of the Giants. I just wanted to see what it was. You know what I mean? Without everything trying to kill me.
Yeah.
But so my first playthrough is always I'm offline, but I'm always in human form or whatever because I want to see the NPC invaders.
Yeah.
I want to know like where they're invading at. But I also don't want people showing up. Like I don't want to be playing Elden Ring and I'm like 20, 30 minutes into the game and somebody invade me with like the Moonlight Greatsword. I would, you know what I mean? I want to find that. That's mine. I get to find that, like.
Yeah.
So my first playthrough is always offline, and then every playthrough after that is just like a full-on online shenanigans forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to do co-op on the blind playthroughs, so people are very judgmental of that. But I'm like, if it's if it's part of the game, then I don't care what their intentions were. It's more fun for me.
When I finally got Xbox Live, or maybe I'd switched over to the PlayStation 3, I don't remember. But when I finally had Dark Souls, it was Dark Souls 2. When I finally got like online capabilities, I staunchly refused to summon people to help me. So what I would do is I would put my sign down and help other people. And I was like, if I die here, it's no big deal, like. But yeah, that co-op on your first playthrough to like figure out a boss, regardless of whether it's like in your world or somebody else's, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
you're learning the game through that, and that's an awesome experience that you don't get. Like you have all the time in the world to come back to these games and like, oh, I've mastered the game. I'm blood level 4, soul level 1. I've done it. You have all the time in the world to come back and do that. But when the games are like brand new. You only have that amount of time to just really go crazy and play the game with like 6 million other people at the same time. It's you can't pass that up. You can't pass that up.
Yeah, it's such a special experience getting that. And I don't know if Saint, I don't know if I've gotten review copies since Dark Souls 3 and just a little early, but it is I've always been curious, like, because I'm mostly PvE through the games in general, and I haven't really gotten into like PvP before the actual release date, but I assume it must be pretty funny because you're either going to be going against like journalists and stuff or streamers, so it must.
Yeah. I
can only assume it creates, like, I know in my like DMs when I've talked to people ahead of time, like, and we've been like chatting about the game before release, you get pretty wildly different perspectives from like a streamer versus someone doing it for review. And I would love to hear the experience of like invading pre-release, not only because it's probably broken as hell, but also because like you never know who you're gonna find, and like I've heard some pretty good stories of like Vadi and Peeve, like invading each other and stuff like that. So yeah,
I've not gotten a review copy of a game. I got a copy of Sekiro through Switch or through Twitch. Sorry, not Switch. Twitch. I got a copy of Sekiro through Twitch, but as far as like getting like an early access, I haven't. I did get to play the Dark Souls 3 network test, and it was insane. It was just like this who's who of everybody, fight clubs, and like at the time, you only had access to the Dark Souls 3 network test was the High Wall of Lothric, but Vort was closed off, and you had to fight Dancer instead.
Yeah,
and it was just nonstop fight clubs at that first bonfire, and the balcony right above that bonfire, is like Oro, Peeve, just everybody like right there, and they're watching everybody fight, and or like you only had it for like 3 hours at a time or something like that.
Yeah.
So like, okay, well now this 3-hour segment, it's just going to be like straight invasions. And so like you would be invading, and like you get a second invader show up, and it's like Ouroboros, the ninja, has invaded, or Peverson has invaded, and you're like, oh, thank God, this is going to be great, And the Dark Souls Remastered network test was also like that. Like it was just everybody was there. Like there wasn't a PSN you didn't recognize. You know what I mean? It's so much fun, and that's something that like God, man, like an Elden Ring network test. It's
I hope so.
if you can, like if you can get into it, it's some of the most fun you'll ever have, and it really is like kind of like, because up until Dark Souls 3, I didn't really care much. I thought PvP was cool or whatever, but like I was like, I'm not going out of my way to do it. But then like that network test just completely turned me around. I was like, this is insane that you can, So yeah, like I like an Elden Ring network test would be like,
unfathomable right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Unfathomable is the right word.
I doubt I could even imagine it.
Yeah. Yeah, that it is a really fun experience, and I hope we all are lucky enough to get Elden Ring. So it's hard for me to hope for then maybe getting a review copy. I can't. And then a network test is like, it's about the same level.
You guys out here talking about review copies and network tests. I'm just here hoping for the game to exist.
Yeah, hoping the game comes out in the first place. Yeah, it's exactly. It's getting ahead.
I'm just worrying about that before worrying about the other things. That those will come as a bonus for me.
Getting ahead of myself is my brand, so I have
That's fair. Jesus Christ, I monkey pawed so hard. There was like Dark Souls 3 was like 2 years old, and my YouTube content already sort of started being like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And this was 3 years ago, and I'm reading like Fanamitsu articles. I'm looking for like anything.
Yeah.
And there's like a few quotes here and there where Miyazaki's like, well, we're working on a lot of stuff right now. There was a time when he was like, we have 3 projects, and then 3 projects turned into 3.5 projects. He was like, we have 3.5 projects. And one of them will live up to Souls fans' expectations in a straightforward manner. I have that quote memorized. So I was like, okay, cool. And like the months drug on and on and on. And I was like, I just want to know what this game is called. Like, what's it called? Just tell me what it's called, and I'll stop asking about it. And then they announced Sekiro, and they were like, okay, this game doesn't have multiplayer. We found that out. And then finally they were like, Elden Ring.
Horror.
they're like, the game's called Elden Ring. And I was like, all right, we know what it's called. 666 days later.
Yeah.
Like, it's you're like, just I have this one wish. If I could have this one wish, and then you get your wish, and it makes everything else worse. That's exactly what happened. I know the game is called Elden Ring, and that's all I'll ever know.
So you're saying this is all your fault?
It is. It is. I'm ready to accept the responsibility now. I did this.
Well, speaking of monkey's paws, I think it's time to watch the leaked trailer. Which
That's an excellent segue.
Nice segue.
Which is a monkey's paw because it is technically Elden Ring information, but it's like I'm okay putting numbers on things. I think 90% of that content is never going to show up in the final game. Just throwing that out there.
That's a bold.
I think
bold estimate.
You do you think it's higher or lower?
Lower.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet at least in a next trailer, I should say that 90% of that is like we're gonna see different stuff. If we maybe like I don't think we'll get the narrator or whatever, but let's get right into it and watch this beautiful upscaled 720p
4K 60 FPS. Oh wait.
Yeah, that's a someday wish, but right now we got this beautiful thing.
This cell phone footage recorded off of a Vizio TV monitor.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff.
They didn't even bother turning off like the TV in the background.
Yeah, like you can hear a kid talking. Like yeah.
Yeah.
I love our introduction to like the starting classes here.
Yeah.
Mercenary, warrior, wizard.
Yeah. Got your D&D party.
It's like one of those 4chan leaks that just lists.
Like I was actually asleep and I was getting like Discord pinged when this happened. Especially that shot they just showed with the person taking the torch and going into the thing. When I saw that, I was like, this just looks like Dark Souls 2 too.
Yeah.
And like, hey, sign me up. I'll play Dark Souls 2 too.
Yeah.
But like, I absolutely understand why this trailer never saw the light of day. There's a sneak button. There's a horse button. There's a jump. Well, we get the jump button here in the. I feel like this is two separate things.
Yeah.
I feel like that trailer is like. I feel like what we're seeing here is like further along in development than that trailer was.
Yeah,
Because
one of them was the night before, the other one was the day after.
Like, you start to see like it looks like, you know, it looks like Dark Souls 3 more than it looks like Dark Souls 2. But there are aspects of that trailer that are like straight up some Dark Souls.
It's like that DLC, the Sunken, whatever it was called.
Sunken King, yeah.
Yeah, it literally looks like that, some parts of it at least.
Yeah.
And then this is interesting. This looks cool.
That's
Moon-
definitely a boss fight.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but that doesn't look like if you showed me that in Sekiro, you know, if you're like, hey, this is going to be a Sekiro DLC, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool, I can believe that. But like, you know what I mean? It looks like it's further along. It doesn't look, you know, up to snuff as far as like polish goes, but it looks further along than that trailer. That trailer like really had like some Dark Souls 2 holdover like animation stiffness to it.
Mm-hmm.
To say the least.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like when you first look at it, for me at least, I was like, there's the initial shock where you're like, oh wow, some Elden Ring stuff, and you're like, then you keep digging into it, you keep watching it, and you're like, oh, maybe this footage is a little old. And now I'm like, oh, this footage, hopefully it's like 2+ years old. You know, I feel like I just kept pushing it back in my mind, like, oh, maybe it's a year old. Oh, watch it again. Oh, maybe that's 2 years old. You know, just because, yeah, it is. You know, it's one of those things that was never meant to see the light of day. And I think, you know, once the game is out, it'll be cool to have that progress footage because From is so secretive about their process and they're not very communicative. And so it'll be cool to be able to be like, oh, well, that was that. And we never saw that. And then like from like a development standpoint, it'll be cool to speculate on. But just having that, they already had an uphill battle for like, this is not just like Dark Souls 4, but like, unfortunately with this leaked trailer, it just does not help that argument one bit.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. This is you said something that just kind of like reminded me of a thing. I'm sure you guys know Lance McDonald, and he's like always collecting old copies of games just to see like what's different from this copy to that copy or whatever. And he gets a lot of his work done on like old demo discs, essentially, And so like this is something that I've like somewhere out there now, like right now, there's probably like an Elden Ring demo. Like that disc is out there somewhere. Someone has it.
Just ask Phil Spencer for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did. You're totally right. He wasn't he like, I've played it and it's super what was the word he used?
Ambitious.
Ambitious. Yeah.
he played it in Japan at their studios, I believe, though. It's not like they sent him anything. Well, not as of then, at least. But he's one of the few lucky souls, so to speak.
Unless he was playing what we just watched, and then maybe it's a little bit hit or miss. But hey, I would.
I mean, if I get to play that, I would.
Yes.
I mean,
I would saw off my leg to play that. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Dark Souls 2 too. Just give me.
Well, it's like, sometimes like on the one hand, I think the Dark Souls comparison is unfair, and I've spent hours talking about why over the course of my channel. But like context,
it's inevitable.
Context that matters, but it will be Dark Souls in some ways, and like, hey, I happen to like Dark Souls. So it's like, cool, sign me up for more. If like, I'll take what's new and I'll take what's old, because for me, From Software has not had like a critical failure. All of their games are highly regarded by me, so I'm excited. And just having this trailer as sort of like something to look back on will be really cool. But of course, it'll be interesting.
Even if the game is like mechanically Dark Souls 3 with a horse and a jump button, like just the idea that they get to leave all of the Dark Souls baggage behind them. Like, I don't have to tell you the story about Gwyn for the fourth time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the fact that they just get to leave that behind. Yeah. Fine. Yeah, I'll totally play Dark Souls 3 too with a horse and a jump button, as long as you don't have to tell me the same. You know what I mean? Like I'm sick of it. I'm tired of that. Like you spoiled me with Bloodborne, and I've actually gone like insane, like lore hunting in Sekiro. Like I just did another playthrough of Sekiro, and I was like, wait a minute, the sculptor can't die from dragon rot. What if the sculptor was the shinobi of the divine heir for Takeru, and what if that tree he's carving is the ever blossom that they cut down, and now he's carving Buddha statues out of an old ever blossom tree? Like just every time you give me a new game, I am like I've got like terrible ADD. I'm like one of those people who like I just focus on like one thing solely. Like I'm sick to death of finding Havel, and like I'm ready to find the new guy. Let me find the new guy.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to come up with any more children for Gwyn, and they can just have some new royalty for us to, execute ceremonially. So, but it'll be new names, new stuff. That's speaking my language, because that's like, like if it's like literally was just another Dark Souls game mechanically, but it's got a new story, like sign me up. I love how they tell stories. I like their weird cutscenes, their weird laughing people. Like I just want more of that experience. And, then you add in George R. R. Martin, and I'm like, whew, what if I, made a...
So now this...
Yeah.
The incest is going to be like really up front.
Yeah. More dragons, more incest.
More deaths of main characters.
Yeah.
And inevitable joke about stuff not being finished, yada yada yada.
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it's George R. R. Martin's not done writing it or something.
As a guy who gets on Twitch every day and plays Dark Souls, and you'll never, like, if I had a dime for every time somebody showed up in my chat and was like, "Elden Ring not finished, George R.R. Martin," I'd just retire. Like I would be.
Can I join you in that trust fund right there?
Yeah.
I need to set up some kind of Twitch command where, like, if someone says that in a way that I can get my bot to recognize, like, any string of those words, it demands that person pay me money or be banned from my channel forever.
Yeah. But yeah, so there we have it. Day 666. Thank you so much, Mordecai and Saint, for coming on. Mordecai, where can people find you on the internet?
Elden Ring news on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Some awesome stuff going on this month in April with guests. It's been a delight. It gives me something to look forward to every day. So that's awesome.
It's been absolutely incredible. Like every day, I am looking forward to hearing that there's no news. I love it. It's so good.
And Saint, where can people find you on the internet?
On YouTube at Saint_Riot or at Twitch /Saint Riot, all one word.
Awesome. And it's been a moment for my hiatus, but I am still running until April 15th, even though YouTube took all my money. I am raising money for charity. Yeah, YouTube literally demonetized me while I was raising money for charity using my ad revenue. So that sucks. But if you have money and you want to donate, whoever out there, it's running till April 15th. It's linked in the description. It is a charity fundraiser for able gamers, and we've raised about $800 to help people overcome barriers to gaming. And I'm still gonna donate money because screw YouTube. I'm gonna do it anyways, even though they threw me a curveball. That's for sure.
That's not a curveball. They just like threw a baseball at your nuts. Yeah,
it's the ultimate dislike button. I was like, oh, because I put up the leaked trailer and it's got a bunch of views, and I was having a good month, so I was like, I'll pay it forward. And then YouTube, I was expecting there's a chance YouTube would, like, maybe Bamco would copyright strike it or something. No, the video's still up, and then they ding me for showing the announcement trailer and talking over it, and I'm like, I could not have, fuck YouTube.
Yes, that's also wild. But yeah. Like, it's curious that they didn't copyright strike that trailer, and a part of me was like, well, that must mean they're close and they don't care.
Yeah.
Like, but then the other part of me is like, well, they know they can just not say anything and we'll move on to the next thing. We'll just continue waiting or whatever. And they won't draw any attention to it. Maybe there's less eyeballs on it. Yeah. If they were copyright striking it, everybody would want to watch it. The fact that they're not copyright striking it means that, like, oh, it'll always be there. You can go, you don't have to watch it right now. Wait 5 or 6 months before you watch it.
Yeah.
Wait a year before you watch it. Wait 2 years before you watch it. It's never coming out.
In the infamous words of the Game of Thrones showrunners, they kind of forgot about Elden Ring.
There we go. But once again, thank you to both of you coming on and talking a whole bunch of awesome stuff about multiplayer. That's certainly not something I'm knowledgeable about. And man, I'm really hoping all of us, I'm gonna give Mordecai panic attacks. All of us get our review copies and we invade each other. I'm looking forward to it.
But, yeah, me too. And thank you for having me. It was nice hanging out with you, Mordecai.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You too, Saint.
All right.